Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game Junk Prototype Episode 8, coming at you April 17th, 2020. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
My name's Andrew.
We're going to talk some huge news. Just dropped yesterday. Cooking Mama controversy. Publisher versus IP owner versus developer. What goes on? We're going to milk this thing till it's dry. Sean's super excited. He wanted to talk about it really bad, so we're going to get into it. But first, there's more pressing matters. Sean.
Yeah.
On last week's show, you made a solemn vow. A solemn vow to play A Fisherman's Tale in VR for PlayStation 4. Now, a solemn vow is a sacred thing. You can't just make those and not live up to them or uphold them. So let's check in first. Did you uphold your solemn vow?
Well, I was going to save this for what I've been playing, but I did play a bit of A Fisherman's Tale. Not enough to really talk in depth about it, but I started it, and I am enjoying it so far.
Enough to fulfill a contractual obligation or a solemn vow.
That's right.
All right. Well, I'm actually impressed. I didn't think you touched it at all. So good on you.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome, man. Let's
just end the show then. I guess we have nothing to talk about.
Solemn vow. Take a break. Sean can play a little more. Did you at least get into? Well, we'll talk about what you played. All right, Cooking Mama. I was not even aware of this controversy. I saw the IGN review score of 3.0, and my spidey sense was tingling.
Mm-hmm.
Correctly tingling, I might add. Apparently there's some underlying issues with this game and controversy, and I haven't played the game. I will never play the game. I don't give a fuck about this game. Sean and Andrew were dying to talk about it. So I, as a good host, definitely. I will oblige them. All right. So what's the story, boys? Cooking Mama was a huge hit. Everyone loved Cooking Mama on Wii.
And DS, I think.
I've never played it in my life. I didn't even know. I thought Nintendo owned the IP. I don't know if that switched hands at some times or if it was always like a Pokemon situation where, was it even was it published by Nintendo originally, or am I just assuming that and it's not?
Probably just assuming.
Interesting.
It did have the feel of a Nintendo title, though.
I will give them that. They kind of nailed the look and marketing of Majesco. Okay. All right. Well done, Majesco. So do one of you guys want to elaborate on the issue? I read the article. It's interesting. This feels like it's really in Huck's wheelhouse, so I'm going to defer to him if he wants to.
Sure. I could try to give it a go. I mean, I also had never heard of it until I think it was Patrick on our Discord. Shout out to our Discord. Link to it, and it sounds like the IP owner hired a publisher, which hired a developer, and then the developer made the game, and the publisher, I guess, showed it to the IP holder, and the IP holder said, "I don't like this. You got to make some changes." And the publisher said, "Screw that. We're releasing it anyways," and just decided to put it out there. Now, I don't know really what the timeline was for all those things and what happened, but it sounds like maybe the publisher thought, based on the contract they had, that they could kind of just do what they want. They had free reign, but it seems like the IP holder, a company called Office Create, is looking to sue them, and the publisher is Planet Entertainment. A bunch of people I've never heard of. I don't know if you guys heard of any of these.
No.
Companies. Nope. So it sounds kind of messed up. I know what was the other thing, Sean? Some Bitcoin mining or something, maybe?
Yeah.
They want to use blockchain technology.
Came out, a couple months ago, I think. They said that, they made a big announcement that this game is going to be the first game to use blockchain technology, which blockchain is something that's used in a lot of cryptocurrencies. Does not necessarily mean it has anything to do with cryptocurrency. I don't think, because they're kind of exclusive, can be exclusive things. But so they said that, and then suddenly rumors sprung up that the game is actually behind the scenes mining for cryptocurrency, which, if you don't know about that whole thing, like bitcoins and things like that, you can mine for bitcoins using computers, and they just process in the background and make you money essentially. And so people thought that maybe the game was doing that behind the scenes. I don't think there was any evidence of that, but just because they mentioned blockchain, it set people off, and they had to come out and make a statement and say, no, we were talking about using blockchain just as a way to trade items in game, because the technology is a way to sort of ensure that the people making some sort of transaction actually have the things they say they have, and to secure that transaction. So
kind of like an anti-cheat technology.
Yeah, so I guess that could be what they were trying to do there. But so people were freaking out over that, and then this other thing happened.
Yeah, so it sounds, I went to the website and it said that it's for sale but sold out. No, I don't know what that means. Sorry, not the eShop though, the personal site of the game. And there is some links in here saying that you can get it on Amazon and eBay and stuff, which is, I didn't click on those links. Let me just quickly go to those. But it seems weird that it seems like they have physical versions. So printed, approved by Nintendo. So it passed certification. And it seems crazy that it could get to the point where you have a physical copy made and certified, and the IP holder almost like didn't know it was that far along in development. Or it seems, because I mean, certification can take basically like a month. So you're saying that from the time they requested changes to when they found it was on sale, they didn't have any communication with the publisher about this, or the publisher lied? Like, there's something really weird going on here where it almost seems too hard to believe that this can actually happen.
Yeah, it feels pretty strange. Like, obviously they have a contract with, when they have to check in with each other, or who approves what in terms of IP. Like, we've worked on licensed games before. The same thing applied with licensed games that I've worked on, where, the owner could shut down an idea, or you would present it to them. You wouldn't wait too long to do that stuff. You'd have scripts approved and mechanics and ideas. Now, it didn't happen right away. Sometimes you would work on something for a while and then it would get shut down, or it wouldn't be allowed. So it's not always like a purely instant symbiotic relationship where you think of something, go to the IP holder. Like, it can take time, but you'd think they'd be in some contact with this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And like, my vibe, this is pure speculation. The game was shit. IP owner is worried that it's going to basically tarnish the brand, which they own, and they just wanted to stop it from coming out. And
that could be true. And that's valid critique. They should be allowed to do that. They should be allowed to pull the plug.
Well, it depends. They should be allowed if they said, we get final say on the game. But the article I read said they approved the design. The game meets those design requirements that everyone agreed on. I don't know what's in their contract. We talked about this before. It's going to be pure speculation on what their contract was. But I would see why an IP owner would be mad if the game is terrible and you're devaluing that IP in a sense, especially when the IP is only known for video games. It's not like it's an IP that, is being spread across different media formats. It's just video games, and it's becoming worthless.
There might be a Cooking Mama animated series we don't know about, Frank. Let's be honest.
It's true. Now there'll never be one, ever.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's just such a weird communication breakdown there. I don't understand, especially towards the end of a game being released. Everyone is paying attention. There's a lot of communication happening because it all requires so much coordination between different groups. I just don't understand how you can get that far and actually have something shipped to stores, and then somebody realizes that, oh, actually, we don't want this released. It doesn't make any sense.
Or they didn't know it sucked until people told them it sucked.
I guess, but I mean that seems that's a little hard to believe too. But I
I
mean,
don't
I
think
guess
it's that hard to
they
believe.
caught
But like
wind
IP
that they
owners
didn't
are like
get views or
whatever.
something.
Oh, here's something. Yeah, we own this. Will you make it? You know about making stuff. We just own
Yeah,
it. I could see that
I,
happening.
I guess IP owners sometimes are pretty hands off, and I don't know how it was with the other games for them, but it is just a very strange thing. There was one other little thing I saw in one of the articles I read that there was some rumor that they may have used copyrighted music or audio from like a YouTube video or something. I have no idea. I had no other details about that, but it seemed like maybe some last minute legal thing could also have been a reason to try and pull it. But then why would the publisher be fighting it? I don't get that. So I mean, it's obviously unfortunate for the developers who, worked hard on this thing and then at the last minute it's getting pulled. But it sounds like yes, there are physical copies out there that you can get a hold of if you just got to play it.
Now, I don't know how busy you guys are this weekend or this week. Uh, we should study Cooking Mama, make a new game called Crypto Mama, where you just build cryptocurrency using recipes and like do a parody game and just strike gold on this thing. What do you think?
It's not a bad
Sure, why
idea.
not?
When I first heard about this, I actually thought what this situation was one of those cases where somebody had made like a rip-off game and somehow managed to pass it off as with under the name Cooking Mama. And I thought that's what this was all about because that is more of a common thing, I guess, on the mobile side where sometimes people can get like games that are straight rip-off somehow on an app store. But that does not appear to be the case.
There's definitely games similar to this,
Yeah,
but
there's a lot.
obviously they don't have the Cooking Mama name attached.
What about
Right.
another parody game? I don't want to get into gender stereotypes here, but like Cooking Papa, where you just like you open a can of SpaghettiOs and
That's just sexist.
I'm just
Cooking Papas can do just as much as Cooking
I
Mamas.
know that's I didn't want to I like the idea.
It's not a bad one either. I mean, you could definitely
I bet they
get some
don't.
clicks off of that on the web anyway.
I bet they don't have that trademarked. We could totally jump in on that. Get the paperwork rolling this afternoon.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is another situation where we know very little about it. Something seems weird. I have a feeling a publisher is way more litigious than an IP owner potentially and investigated all of their legal rights before releasing the game. They have the money and resources to do that. And my gut here is that it's a slip up on the contract by the IP owner. They didn't cover all their bases or didn't get final sign off approval, and it's coming back to bite them.
Very possible.
I mean, on the flip side, those physical copies are probably worth a lot of money on eBay right now.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that.
Might have to get in on that.
I'm good. Got a lot of stuff here I want to sell. Not getting any more garbage. I got an Ouya unopened. We all know that story.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
your moneymaker. That's your retirement right there.
Exactly. It's it's sitting in a box with the sticker, the red sticker it came with. Beautiful. All right. So was there one other news thing someone mentioned when we were talking earlier today? Sean, is this actually true? You had just popped this before we started recording that they've announced an RE4 remake.
Well, it's not official, but there seems to be pretty strong rumors that there's a Resident Evil 4 remake in the works now. And people seem to be somewhat angry that they are skipping over Code Veronica, which we kind of touched on that a week or two ago as it seemed like the obvious next thing to remake.
Well,
But
I don't
then-
remember touching on that. I remember talking about it.
What
I
do you
don't
mean?
know.
What's
I
the-
would have thought Resident Evil 4 would be the next one that's remade. That would have been.
Really?
Yeah.
But I just thought they would go in chronological order. No?
I think you go story order. I think you stick to main Resident Evil story.
Oh, well, I guess I don't know enough about Code Veronica, so it's completely like not part of that continuity then or something.
Oh, just like numerical continuity. I think it's like an offshoot. I'm assuming that's why it's called Code Veronica. I've never played it, so I don't know. But
Oh.
I think the next one in the core series is 4, and it's a very popular game. The design was next to flawless at the time. I'm sure it holds up, and it already used a fixed perspective camera, so it's even less work in terms of turning it around quicker. I feel like it's definitely budgetary, easier to do than Code Veronica would be.
I guess that's true, but then it just raises the question, why even bother, right? Because you can still play Resident Evil 4 on last generation's consoles anyway. I don't know if they've ever done an HD remaster of it. They even did like a Wii version of it, which was kind of cool.
Yeah,
And
I think it could benefit from the new graphic engine. Like the new ones look amazing. Like they are awesome. There's amazing spectacle moments. I'll be honest, while I was playing 2 and 3, I was like, I want to see 4 in this same style. So I, for one, am glad they're skipping Code Veronica. Very glad.
I mean, it's funny because there seems to be a bit of a, there was this outcry, and then I think a lot of people were like, wait, why is, because I think it was like trending on Twitter. Code Veronica was trending on Twitter because people were saying they were angry that it was being skipped potentially. And I think after that, people were kind of like, wait, why are people angry? Like, did anyone actually like Code Veronica? And I don't know. I haven't played it, so I can't say, but it seems like
reviews at the time. I remember that for sure. Like 9.5s and very good reviews. So I thought they might do 1 again. That was my other thought. Like they did do an HD remake of 1, but not quite the same style. I'd be down with that too.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised about that. Maybe that will be next on the list. I don't know. Like Resident Evil 5 was also last gen. Is that right?
Yeah. Xbox 360 and PS3.
Okay.
We played it co-op, Sean, together. Xbox 360.
Yeah, we did.
What a memory.
Yep.
I remember playing that with some random guy online that had everything. It was great. I literally killed one thing, I think, in our whole run through. He just did everything. It was perfect. Loved it. I remember the other news story also. It was about the Animal Crossing thing.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that when we played. It was the Resident Evil thing I was thinking about, though.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I didn't see anything about this. Sean, he's in like deep, dark web. Internet. He's looking at stuff that I don't even get into. So
the Reddit rabbit hole.
Some major sites, I think, but it can't, again, not official yet.
You know what? Let's do our first ever live Game Junk news check. No, just check and see if anything pops since we started recording. Since it's been
one thing I thought of while you're checking there, Frank. Jason Schreier of Kotaku announced this week that he's leaving Kotaku to go somewhere else. And I know the only reason I go to Kotaku is to read stuff he writes about. So will this be the end of Kotaku as a somewhat relevant go-to place for news? I don't know. It could be done with now that he's gone. So just a little bit of news I picked up on. And he's announcing, I guess, probably later this week or I guess next week, where he's going to next. So it sounds like he's going somewhere to do something else, but I don't know where.
I stopped reading Kotaku a long time ago, and I do not regret it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Overwhelming at times.
Not a lot of news here. Just scanning some headlines on IGN. If you haven't seen Farscape, now is the perfect time to binge it. Big articles.
Getting desperate.
Our links for ads on Amazon shopping and stuff like that. Huge news week. Well, I know there's a few listeners out there that we've talked to personally that are salivating, needing PlayStation 5 and next-gen console news. So we're going to do our best to bring that to you, but we can't bring it to you if it's not there. All right?
Well, there was one small story this week. This is kind of just, I'm flying off the cuff here, Frank, because I don't know the whole detail on this, but I did post a link to it, I think, where they said they're expecting supply shortages when it launches and not because of COVID. They're saying that apparently the cost of the components are pretty high. And as a result, it's going to be hard to get when it launches.
This is why you got to vet these stories through me. This is clearly fake marketing to generate hype and fear for pre-orders. This happened.
Nintendo 101. Nintendo
100%. Everyone's going to be like, I don't want to pre-order. I can't afford it. You know, times are tough. I don't have work right now. I'm on subsidies or whatever. Like, things are rough for people right now. How do you get sales to happen? You got to generate panic and fear that you're not going to get it. Come on. You got to see right through that shit, Sean.
FOMO 101.
I mean, I see it. I guess the only thing I would say is it's a little surprising that they're flat, like that they would say anything to do with it being expensive, because I mean, that was kind of supposedly how Microsoft, one of the reasons why they lost last generation, right, is that they were a little more expensive. And I would assume that Sony would want to, again, try to be lower or at least equal with Microsoft, but maybe they got
to now. I think Xbox lost the last generation at the E3 where they announced Kinect, and Sony went second and said, this is how you share games on PS4. And, you know, the gaming community just went nuts. And I honestly think that's where they lost it, right there. Yeah. And secondarily, their games just aren't as good. I'm sorry. I like Xbox, and I thought their feature set out of the gate was better than PS4, but PS4 just got better, more exclusives, VR. They matched all the technology over time. It wasn't even close. It was not even close. The only thing Xbox had going for it is the same thing it always had going for it. It's strong online services and being able to join games and integration with online stuff. And to be fair, I haven't even tried that on PlayStation in a long time. I primarily play on Xbox for multiplayer games. So PlayStation might have caught up there as well. So I don't know. What seems weird about the announcement is that whoever said this said both consoles are going to be a problem. So how do they know both consoles are going to be a problem? That's why it's fishy to me too. You wouldn't think Sony, one, would wait for the other one or try to get ahead saying, let's assume it is fake and they want to generate fear. They would do it themselves and say, we might be short on PS5s. Or the other one would say Xbox. That's why it feels like a general industry thing.
The only thing I could think of on that note is I think they both have ATI graphics cards. Maybe ATI will make all of them at the same factory, and there is a specific factory that they know is having trouble meeting demand. So that would imply both will have shortages, but
seems
it's hard
completely
to say.
Plausible. I just don't. If that was the case, I would think that would be in the article, or it just seems like there's no reasons. It's just complete speculation, and that's when my the red flags start going up. Something's going on here. Anyway, I'm not worried. I'm not even worried if I don't get one. Even better, I can wait and use my Shoppers Optimum points to buy one, and I don't have to get it day one. And there's no games I want to play day one, so they better have some reason for people to want one day one. I'd say is their biggest problem right now, because I'm not seeing too many other than just early adopter syndrome, which I suffer from. But I don't know if I'll be trekking to stores and waiting in line if we're still in the middle of a pandemic for these consoles. That's for sure. I will be. I'm lying. I will be.
Probably be more likely than anyone.
I would probably buy a hazmat suit. Actually, this kind of looks like a hazmat suit. Before you see the logo, it looks like I'm prepping already. So
there we go.
Good to go. Set. All right. Let's talk about what we played a bit. Huck, I lied. I said I was going to try and play the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I did finish the original, platinum that fucker, and I had burnout big time.
It's a good thing I didn't make you take a solemn vow.
I know. I'll tell you one thing. If I had taken a solemn vow, I would have played at least 12 hours.
12 hours. Oh my goodness. That's a big
The
commitment.
12 hours I put into Jedi Fallen Order and the 10 hours I put into Resident Evil 3 would have all gone into that. So,
Wow. More than I played.
yeah. So, Huck, give us your thoughts. You are a huge fan of this series.
Yeah.
You like the demo more than I did. Lay it on us, bro.
I really like it. I've played about 6 hours right now. I'm in chapter 6, I believe, and I believe there's 18 chapters in the game, maybe more. And so I guess I'm maybe a quarter of the way through, maybe or so, and it's really good. It holds up. The storytelling is good. They add little things to flesh out stuff in the original. I mean, I'm 6 hours in and I haven't even got to Wall Market yet, Frank, if that's like a
People of
landmark.
Market?
Yes, I haven't even got there. I mean,
That's
and
your
I
new
think Walmart
account for Final Fantasy. People of Wall Market. Get on it. I'm just full of ideas
There you
here.
go.
This is crazy.
There you go. Yeah. So I think that's, I mean, what, maybe 2 hours into the original game,
Something like
Walmart
that.
when you
2 or
get there.
3, yeah. Depending on how much
Yeah.
time
So
you spend in shops.
yeah, I'm really enjoying the combat. So it's like action based. You have to fill a gauge. You get sort of like 2 gauges to fill, and each gauge you fill allows you to do either a magic or an item usage or a special ability. And I really like they kept all the same systems, except they added a weapon upgrade tree as well, which is fine. I mean, it's just a little extra role playing you can do. Essentially, each weapon you get, it seems like you can't sell them anymore. You just keep them forever, and you can upgrade them in this tree. I don't really know if it's gonna have a long tail, because it seems like as soon as you get a new weapon, you basically just use that one and upgrade it. Unless your previous weapon you've already upgraded a lot and it's still better than your new one, which doesn't seem to be the case.
So there's
Yes.
still multiple weapons
Yes.
you upgrade.
Yeah.
Because when you
Yeah.
first said it, my initial thought was, okay, I hate managing weapons. It's my least favorite thing to do, especially in RPGs and old RPGs where it's just, compare numbers and pick. That's it. So I hate that. So I thought, oh, this is kind of the evolution, and, give choice as to what you want to invest in your weapons and build that out. But yeah, if you're still replacing weapons, it seems a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, the original Final Fantasy, if I recall correctly, basically did it like Chrono Trigger, where each character has their own specialized weapon, and then you essentially just buy the newest one of that as you go, or like the newest sword, or the newest boxing gloves, or the nearest gun arm. And this is the same. You still get that, but then there's also this tree, which basically allows you to unlock more attack power, more magic power, more hit points, additional materia slots, that sort of stuff. So that's kind of interesting, and that you can choose what you want to upgrade. But at the same time, I think it adds an extra level of RPG stat management that is really not needed. You still buy armor and amulets or accessories or whatever they call them, and those seem unchanged from the original. But yeah, the gameplay I really like the combat. Bosses are challenging. You definitely need to manage your magic to make sure you have the right weaknesses. They added this new side quest where you can use this assess materia, which is basically like a scan of each enemy, and it tells you their weaknesses and stuff. And that seems really important to make sure you know what people's weaknesses are, especially for bosses. And there's
Something
also like
similar to that in the original, right? But it was called Sense Materia.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. But there was so in this, there's like a side quest tied to it where there's some guy that basically gives you extra materia if you sense more guys. So
I
it kind
actually
of
like that
encourages you to
idea.
do it.
Like if there's dedicated quests to teaching you what the capabilities of certain materia are and how to use them properly, like you could experiment in the other game, but I honestly did very little of that. So I would like some gameplay reasons to try that stuff out.
Yeah, and it has little challenges. Like I can't remember exactly what they are, but they're basically like use magic on a staggered enemy, And so that's a new thing actually, where because it's more action oriented, they have this. Each enemy has essentially like 3 phases of their attack. It's like regular attack, then pressured, I believe, and then staggered. So staggered's like they're on the ground and can't move, and you can do maximum damage. And pressured, I believe, is they're a little less defense, so you can do a little more damage. And I think that's from Final Fantasy 13. I think they stole that from. I could be wrong with that one, but there was a similar mechanic in another Final Fantasy game that came out not too long ago.
Yeah,
But
other games have that too. Sekiro had a similar system where like
does it?
once
Okay.
posture damage is full, then you kind of take more damage, and I think they might have been
Yeah.
called staggered.
Yeah, I think there's also additional bonuses if you like flank an enemy and hit them from behind. So I really like that. It does. I like the filling of the gauge and being that the only time you can use magic, because it does cause you to really watch your health and manage that stuff. Because if if you get hit with a big move and you've just been spamming, your attacks, your magic, then all of a sudden you can't actually use a potion to heal yourself. And so most of the time, your AI companions will have a gauge kind of ready to go, but you could definitely run into a case where you don't. And that can be a little stressful if you're not paying attention. It does seem like they've added some padding, but I haven't really found it too annoying. I know that's been some of the complaints, saying that they padded it out to make it longer. The voice acting is really good, like so good, in fact, that I was actually like looking up who the voice actors are for some of the characters, because I was so impressed with how they were delivering lines. And they really flesh out the like upper level of Midgar, which you don't really see in the original game, except when you go to infiltrate the Shinra headquarters kind of near the end of Midgar. And so I found that really interesting. You could really see the comparison between, the upper crust and the lower crust, the slums and the royalty sort of people. But yeah, it's really good. I mean, I've barely scratched the surface being 6 hours in, and it's really enjoyable. I'm really enjoying it. And just how they added to everyone's story and how they fleshed out it really feels like you're role playing as Cloud in this world. There's so much to see. It's just really well done. Highly recommended.
Excellent. I will be checking it out shortly. Sean, how about you? What's on the docket?
Well, we started off mentioning the VR stuff. I'm still on a bit of a VR kick, trying to stick with that. So I finished the Room VR, really liked it. It is definitely a bit short. I would probably recommend, if you're not a huge fan of this series, or if you're just kind of mildly curious, maybe wait for a sale. But I mean, it really does work well in VR. I mean, if you're a fan of Myst, those kinds of games, that's basically what this is. Did think by the end it was a little anticlimactic. I think they needed something a little more for the end of the game, because it just kind of ended and it felt like, I don't know, it wasn't really building to anything. But if you like solving puzzles, it's a lot of fun. From there, I tried out both The Fisherman's Tale, which Frank was recommending, and a bit of Blood and Truth. Won't get too much into them because I'll probably keep playing them and talk in more detail. But
I just have one question, Sean, for Fisherman's Tale.
Yeah.
Have you discovered what the mechanic is?
Yes. So okay. You had hinted that there's sort of a meta thing going on in it. I don't know if it's really a spoiler to say, because it happens fairly early on, but once I kind of caught on to it, I was like, okay, I can see how this will be, they can get a lot of mileage out of this. So
yeah,
I am digging that. And Blood and Truth, I mean, it's more of an action game. It's from the people who made the London Heist section of PlayStation VR Worlds. Is that what that was called? That sort of compilation thing? So it's just like an extended version of that, essentially. It's kind of a British gangster story. And it's a lot of kind of on-rails shooting stuff. So far, I feel like I'm just sitting and watching a lot, but I think the voice acting is actually pretty decent, and kind of liking the story so far. So
yeah, I found the same thing. A lot of cutscenes, at least at the start. I spent a lot of time trying to throw a piece of paper into a basketball net
I did that too.
which was bad. Like the mechanic was not good in terms of aiming, and it was just pure trial and error. Like I got lucky eventually, and it went in. I felt like that was not well done. Um, I did get really sick playing that game with the strafing. I had
Oh,
to stop. Yeah, I don't know if
I mean,
you're a Visor Pro.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I haven't used the strafing as much in like I was just kind of doing it to move from cover to cover. So
Have you been in a casino where you plant C4 on the tables?
No, I haven't done that yet.
That's where I started to get sick.
One thing I am a little bit questioning is just the reload mechanic. I think in theory it sounds cool that you actually take the clip and put it in the gun, but when you're in the middle of like action, it's really frustrating, especially if it's kind of finicky and you're not getting it and you're trying to load the stupid gun, and it's just that was bugging me a bit. But other than that, I'm
like Time Crisis or Point Blank, some of these old shooter games on VR.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
Virtua Cop series, House of the Dead. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, definitely. So okay, I have one other thing to talk about. I don't know if do you want to talk first, Frank, and then come back to this, or?
No, you go, man.
So Animal Crossing New Horizons. Haven't really been playing it too much myself, but Alicia and the kids have been playing it. And we did get somebody on Twitter, I think Daniel on Twitter, wanted us to talk a little bit about the multiplayer setup and how frustrating it is. And I can definitely speak to that because, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this, Frank. I don't know if because you're kind of on feels like you're on an anti-Nintendo kind of kick lately. But I don't know.
I wouldn't say I'm anti-Nintendo. I'm anti non-Nintendo people publishing on Nintendo.
Okay.
That makes sense?
So the way...
Actually, I'm more anti-Nintendo fan. Like everyone just praising everything Nintendo does. They're the indie darlings. You know what I hate. It just makes me sick.
Okay. So you'll probably side with Nintendo on this. So Animal Crossing, I mean, if you don't know what it is, it's sort of a sim game where you have a town or a village that's kind of growing over time. And essentially, the main things you're doing is you're collecting stuff, you're decorating stuff, and there's a little bit of exploration and interaction with characters and stuff like that. I mean, I've never been that into Animal Crossing, don't totally understand the appeal. This one, they seem to have added a little bit more in terms of objectives, so it feels like you're actually working towards something. But anyway, so it's a game that makes a lot of sense for families, and I think with the whole lockdown going on right now, I mean, it seems like a lot of people bought this game thinking they could play it with their kids and their significant others. And the problem is the first person to start playing this game automatically becomes, like on your console, automatically becomes the owner of the island. And they kind of are the ones who have control of everything. So other people can also kind of move into the island and have a house and do things. But a lot of times they don't have control, like to sort of progress the story. And there's only one island per console. Like if you start up the game with a new profile, you're on that same island. You can't create your own. So they're kind of locking it in that if you want to kind of have your own island, you got to buy another Switch and another copy of the game, which is a very Nintendo thing to do. I mean, they've always done things like that.
It's so weird to me. It doesn't make sense that like Nintendo has a profile system that the save game and the island is not tied to the profile.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't think there's a good reason for it. It seems like they just want to sell more Switches, potentially.
It's 100% that. Otherwise, 4 people could play the same game, but that's how every game works. The only thing that makes Animal Crossing unique is you're building a custom thing. And if you want to do your own custom thing, you essentially need another license to do that. Or in worse, you need a whole new system plus license to do that. Anyway, I'll be honest, it makes you want to barf. Really angers me, to be perfectly honest. Nintendo, you made your bed. You made this portable console that families can share. It's perfect for families. It's perfect to take anywhere. Well, guess what? You made your bed, lie in it like Marty on Netflix. You got to live with it. Fix this problem, Nintendo. This is bullshit.
I mean, the couch co-op is also frustrating because multiple people can be playing at once. But again, there's a leader and the other ones are followers. And the followers can't really do much of anything. You can pick up stuff, but anything you pick up automatically gets transferred to like a storage box somewhere. And then you have to go retrieve it later. And then even just the drop-in idea of drop-in, drop-out co-op. So for some reason, when somebody joins the game, it takes like a minute. Like they have to like recalibrate all this stuff to bring the person in. It's just real frustrating for something that should have been an easy win.
Get that barf back down. This sounds awful. You're living in the Stone Age, Nintendo. Wake up. When are other people going to wake up and start criticizing this company for their shameful practices instead of praising everything they do?
I mean, I've seen a lot of criticism of this stuff. People are complaining about it, but I'm sure this game is still selling.
The fact that they gouge for 2 Pokemon games every time they release it and people buy it. Come on. Imagine if that was EA, what people would say. Am I insane? Am I living in Bizarro World?
Such a YouTuber.
What is the double standard here? I'm obviously embellishing, but I do think it's kind of gross. All right, I'll say what I played. Not a ton of new stuff, just finishing off some plats. Resident Evil 3, platinum that. I don't care. I use the infinite rocket launcher. Doesn't bother me one bit. The game mode is insanely hard, and I have no desire to play this. It's more a mode for people who I think they can't buy. Like they buy 1 or 2 games and they have to play it a lot. I feel like that's who it's designed for, which is a good thing, I guess. But I will say the final boss is one of the most frustrating and stupid experiences I've ever had to do to get a platinum. And honestly, it wasn't that bad once I had to watch like 3 videos to find some tricks on how to do this thing. But there's a perfect dodge, this new dodge mechanic where you can like slow time down and do perfect dodges. It is not explained at all in the game. And I eventually, by the time you get to that boss, you don't need to use it the whole game. And if you don't use it on the boss, you have no chance whatsoever. So a little rough. You might want to work on that design there, Capcom. And you get stuck in like a 3-hit attack. Once you get hit once, you're fucked. You're done. It's over. It's so frustrating. Anyway, glad that's done. Platinum Final Fantasy VII. Liked it a lot. Ruby Weapon is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in a video game in my life. There's like one way to beat it. I read a guide. How would you know how to do this? It's insane. This like to get these dasers and steal them off some enemy on some island that's only available like in one place in the game. And I mean, you really got to be dedicated. If you beat Ruby Weapon authentically without checking any guide whatsoever, you are a hero. I grant you hero status. You checked the guide. I know we checked the guide.
I didn't check shit. I beat it years ago. Original PS1.
I guess I should add, I was talking about this, but there's a difference. This like power that the Ruby Weapon has that's basically takes a party member away completely happens on like turn 2 on the PlayStation. But I also cheated to get that plat. No shame. Don't care. And one thing I do want to say though, for a second I'm going back to Resident Evil 3. I might not get this. I spent all this time just to get to this last thing, and I'm not even going to get the plat. I'm going to quit. This is the worst thing ever. And you know what changed? You know what changed my life, gentlemen?
What?
Cheating?
A little game called Sekiro. And after doing that, I can do anything. If it's been done by another gamer, I can do it. I truly believe that. It just might take a bit more time, but it's doable. Sekiro opens your mind. It changes the way you think. And I guess lastly, I'll say I'm replaying Fallen Order. Definitely not liking it as much on a replay. Some frustrating control stuff that I never noticed before that has been illuminated by playing Sekiro. And yeah, without a doubt, Sekiro, my game of the year in retrospect. Not even close. But I'm still pretty much enjoying it. But really, the sliding mechanic, which I embarrassingly defended as a load in lieu of loading in certain areas in that game, it's brutal. It is the worst. When you're sliding and jumping and all that stuff, it sucks.
Yeah.
There's one section that's good in the origin tree where you're getting shot at by an Empire ship or whatever. That one's good. The rest of it is pure trash. And that's it for me. All right.
I have one more thing. I fired up. Well, actually, speaking of the Final Fantasy, I wonder when Xbox is going to add all the Final Fantasy games to Game Pass, like they were talking about doing.
Some are on there. 15's on there. I don't think like the original 7 is yet. But
well, they were talking about doing like 7, 8, 9, I
Yeah.
believe. So I thought they would drop them around the time of the remake to try to, convince people to play them then. But maybe they're waiting now. Well, obviously they're waiting now. But the other thing I was playing is I fired up Dragon Age 2, which I had actually never played before. I just played kind of the intro and said, this isn't for me, but I've been really enjoying it. I'm not very far in, but definitely take a look at that one if you skipped it the first time. There's not many. I mean, Witcher 3 is obviously out there, but there's not many other really high quality fantasy RPGs that I can think of, and this one is better than I remember it being. And also,
but before you get to it,
Go
the
ahead.
gold standard seems to be, which I've never played and I hear amazing things, the Divinity series.
Yeah, I tried. I think I can't remember. I might have tried both of them, but I can't get into them. That like isometric, even Icewind Dale and Baldur's Gate, I could never get into those style of games. I don't know why. Torment, all those, Planescape Torment, I just cannot get into them.
Yeah.
I've tried and I can't do it for some reason. The other thing I've been playing out today, A Fold Apart by Lightning Rod Games. I helped port it to Apple Arcade and Switch. They're out today. Xbox and PS4 will be coming out in the next, I don't know, hopefully couple weeks. I know PS4 passed certification, still waiting on Xbox One. Things got slowed down a bit. And so they'll be coming out soon. So if you're looking for a short little puzzle game about long distance relationships, something cute and cuddly to play with the wife or the significant other, check it out. Throw some money at a small developer and help them out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I threw some money by downloading it on Apple Arcade. How about that?
Boy. That's it for me.
Cool.
So, what platforms is it on? Did you say PC and?
Yeah, so it's Apple Arcade, Steam, and Switch right now, and it will be PS4 and Xbox One as well.
All right, I'll wait. I'm waiting for PS4.
Just so you know, there's no plat.
I know.
Okay.
I'll still support it, but I will not support it on a Nintendo platform. All right, I think that's it. Good talking, everybody. Hopefully there's some actual news and some cool stuff to talk about next week. I hope to get into Final Fantasy. No promises.
This turned into a real show after we were talking about it being like 20 minutes.
It's
Worked
what
out
happens.
well.
I could probably go another 3 hours if you wanted to. I got lots of things to complain about. I got to shut it down. Got to end these conversations dead in their tracks. This is a short show by design. Okay. Anyway, we'll talk to you next week. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
I usually say? Hello, everyone. Is that what you say, Sean?
Make it your own show, Frank. Let's
I
go.
say. I don't know what you say. You
I
gotta
don't
find
say
your own.
Own
No,
it. Own the
I'm not-
hosting.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Game Junk episode prototype. Fuck, start over. Oh my god. I gotta read a script. I'm so stupid.